It starts the moment you walk in and suddenly the room has too many bodies and too many voices and too much of everything hitting you at once like a wave you didn't agree to swim in. Your chest tightens and your thoughts scatter, and somewhere deep in your nervous system an alarm starts ringing that no one else seems to hear because they laughing and mingling and existing in this chaos like it's normal, like it's easy, like it's just something a person should be able to do without feeling like they slowly disappearing. But you feel it, and you've always felt it, and the older you get the more you realize this isn't something you outgrow, because hating crowded places isn't a phase or a preference or a quirk you can just get over. It's wired into who you are, and today we're going deep into the psychology of why you feel this way. Because what the world calls antisocial or awkward or difficult is actually something far more complex and far more meaningful than anyone ever told you. Let's start with what's actually happening inside your brain when you step into a crowd. Your nervous system is processing more information than the average person can even detect, and while others filter out background noise and movement and energy, your brain is absorbing all of it simultaneously, and it's just not selective, and it's just not merciful, and it doesn't care that you're just trying to buy groceries, or attend a party, or exist in public like a normal human being. Psychologists call this sensory processing sensitivity, and it's found in roughly 15 to 20% of the population, and it means your brain is wired to pick up subtleties that others miss. Completely like the flicker of fluorescent lights, and the hum of conversations blending into static and the micro-expressions on strangers' faces that tell stories you didn't ask to read. You not avoiding crowds because you weak, and you not overwhelmed because you broken, and you not hiding because you can't handle life. You retreating because your system takes in more data in 5 minutes than most people process in an hour. And that's not a flaw, that's a neurological difference that no one taught you to understand, but there's something deeper here. And if you've always hated crowds, then you probably already sense what it is. Because this isn't just about noise or bodies or stimulation, and it's not just about introversion, even though that's part of it. This is about safety. Somewhere in your history, and maybe it's a memory you can name, or maybe it's something buried so deep you can't access it, but somewhere you learned that crowds are unpredictable, and unpredictable means dangerous, and dangerous means you need to stay alert or stay away. Maybe you were lost in a crowd as a child, and the panic of that moment never fully left your body, and now every crowded room feels like the beginning of that same story. Maybe you grew up in an environment where chaos was constant and people were overwhelming, and you never had a space that was truly yours. So now your nervous system craves emptiness, because emptiness is the only thing that ever felt safe. Maybe you were bullied or mocked or humiliated in group settings, and now your brain has encoded a simple survival rule that says where there are people there is pain. This isn't social anxiety in the way most people understand it, and it's not shyness, and it's not something a few deep breaths can fix, because your body remembers things your conscious mind has tried to forget in crowded places, trigger those memories without your permission. You walk into a room full of strangers, and your amygdala doesn't see a party or a concert or a shopping mall, and instead it sees a threat assessment with too many variables and too many unknowns and too many ways for something to go wrong. And so you leave, or you hide in the corner, or you count the minutes until you can escape, and people call you antisocial, and they call you no fun, and they don't understand that you not choosing isolation, you being pushed toward it by a nervous system that's trying to protect you from danger that may or may not still exist. But here's what no one tells you about hating crowds. It's actually a sign of deep intelligence and heightened awareness, and a nervous system that evolved not for parties, but for survival. In ancient environments, the humans who paid attention to every rustle in the grass and every shift in the group dynamic and every subtle change in atmosphere were the ones who survived, and they weren't the life of the tribe. But they were the ones who sensed the predator before it struck, and who noticed the tension before it became violence, and who read the room in ways that kept everyone alive. You are a descendant of the Watchers and the Censors, and the ones who stayed at the edge of the village, not because they were afraid, but because someone had to stay alert while everyone else was celebrating. Your discomfort in crowds is dysfunction, and it's proof that your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. The problem isn't you, and the problem is that modern life puts you in environments your nervous system was never built for, because shopping malls and concerts and open-plan offices are evolutionary nightmares for a brain wired to track every stimulus and calculate every threat. So what do you do with this? You stop pathologizing your need for space, and you stop apologizing for leaving early, and you stop pretending you working on becoming more social when the truth is you were never meant to thrive in chaos. You start building a life that honors your wiring instead of fighting it, and that means fewer obligations that drain you and more environments that restore you and boundaries that protect your energy like the precious resource it actually is. You learn to say no without explaining yourself, and you learn to leave without guilt, and you learn that your absence from crowded places isn't a failure to show up for life, but actually a radical act of self-preservation. You find your people, and they might be few, but they read deep, and they understand that your presence is a gift precisely because you don't give it to everyone. Carl Jung said that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, and for you that means accepting that you are not built for crowds, and you never will be, and that's not a limitation, it's a design. So if you hate crowded places, know this: you are not antisocial, and you are selectively social. You are not weak, and you are finely tuned. You are not missing out on life, and you are protecting your capacity to actually experience it. The world will keep inviting you to parties you don't want to attend, and events that drain you, and spaces that feel like slow suffocation, and you get to decline. Because your peace is not negotiable, and your solitude is not shameful, and your need for space is not something to overcome. It's something to honor. You were never meant to disappear into the crowd. You were meant to stand apart and watch and feel and understand in ways that crowds will never access, and that is not your weakness, that is your power.